Hey students, did you ever want to be an ironworker? Today, we're diving into a world where innovation meets craftsmanship, where problem solving is an art form, and where the demand for skilled hands is always on the rise. Welcome to the robust world of ironworking, where strength, precision, and innovation converge to shape the skyline and infrastructure of our modern world. As an ironworker, you'll be at the forefront of constructing the frameworks that support our cities, buildings, and bridges. Join us as we delve into the world of ironworking, where each weld and bolt plays a crucial role in creating durable, resilient structures that stand the test of time, one beam at a time.
My name is Paul Rabarchak. I'm the training director for Ironworkers Local 3 Apprenticeship. The way I got into the ironworking trade was I was actually working as a union painter, and I was unaware of actually what an ironworker was. I was on a job site and I saw some guys putting some metal sheeting on a building, and I thought that would be a much better fit for me. Basically went to the ironworkers, took their apprenticeship test in the early spring, and made it into the ironworking. We have several things that our trade does. Steel erection is one of them. So erecting steel structures, bridges, anything with iron involved with it. We also put up parking garages, which is precast concrete. We also do some mill maintenance where we go into local facilities and mills, maintain some of the mills and do some of their bigger projects. We do a lot of reinforcing, the rebar that goes into the concrete, ornamental, could be windows, stairs, anything inside of buildings that are metal paneling that goes on sides of buildings. We also do that. So the finer parts of the building, we also do that. So I've been in the ironworkers for 30 years. The best part of our trade for me is the ability to go out and work on some of these large structures and buildings in the area, the stadiums and the bridges, facilities we work in, and know that you were a part of building these things. To be successful as an ironworker, number one, have the will to work and show up every day to go to work. After you get there, you have to not really have fear of heights. So an ironworking trade would definitely be no fear of heights, and the ability to use your hands with a lot of eye-hand coordination, eye-foot coordination to get around on these buildings. So one of the most important things our employers would want is for somebody to show up for work every day. And if you show up for school every day, that means you're going to show up for work every day. The application for our apprenticeship program can be found at iwlocal3.com. Our criteria for our apprenticeship program is you have to be 18 years old, you have to have a valid driver's license, you have to have a GED or diploma, and you have to pass a drug screening. So our application process would start online. You would go online, you could fill out your application. That would come to us electronically. We would get back to you in email. Once you get your email and you'd call us up and request a test date, you could come down to our facility, take the test. Once the test is done, we'll set up an interview date. Once the interview date is set, you'll get a time for that day to come down for our interview. The interview process is going to involve an oral interview where you're going to talk to some people. Then you're actually going to go outside and we have some hands-on portion of our interview where you're going to swing a sledgehammer, you're going to climb up a ladder, you're going to walk on some steel. And that does two things. That number one lets us know that you have the ability to possibly do our work, but it also gives you an idea of what we do. And some people realize throughout that interview process that they may not be an ironworker. After the interview process, you're going to have 4 orientations before you go to work. And once you're through those 4 orientations, they're usually 10-hour days, and we will have them on Friday and a Saturday and a Friday and a Saturday, probably 2 weeks in a row. We're going to hit you with a lot of safety. You're actually going to get an OSHA 10-hour class the week that you have orientation. And as you go out onto these job sites, it by no means is going to show you how to be an ironworker, but it's hopefully enough to keep you safe. Once you go through those orientations, you'll be available for work. Our school is 8 weeks a year for 3 years. So as the apprentices come to school, you'll come in for a week. You'll come from 7 until 3:30. Once you're done with that week of school, you'll go back out to work for about 6 weeks. And you'll just keep rotating that way throughout the next 3 years. Ironworkers Local 3's jurisdiction is not only in Pittsburgh, it's up into Erie County, Warren County. We go over into Clearfield County also. Anybody who's in those outlying areas, we give you a stipend to come to the school here. Basically, it's $200 a week. One of the things that they're going to see on the job site, number one, is obviously the heights. Another thing they have to deal with, in the wintertime it's cold, in the summertime it's hot. One thing that our apprentices are going to learn is that they're going to be a mixed local, where they're going to learn all the facets of the trade. They might be like, hey, I'd like to be a structural ironworker more than a reinforcing ironworker. The majority of people usually pick one portion of our trade and kind of stick with it throughout their years. With that being said, all of our graduate apprentices have the ability and capability to work at all facets of the trade. We have a fairly diverse program. We work with 10 different outreach that get out to everybody that could possibly want to be in the trade. Our biggest thing about our trade is you can't be what you can't see. So whenever we talk about different walks of life and different people being in this business, while it's a physical business, we've had plenty of females that have made it through our trade and are still in our program right now. Age isn't really a factor either. If you want to work in this business, it's very physical and it's hard work. Yeah, and an apprentice's pay scale is based off of our journeyman's rate. The pay scale for our Erie counties, and those Erie counties include Crawford County, Erie, Forest, and Warren. Those pay scales, you'd start out at 55% of your journeyman rate. The journeyman rate right now in Erie County is $33.57. Up to $700, you'd make $18.46. From $700 to $1,400, you'd make $20.14. From $1,400 to $2,800, you make $21.82. From $2,800 to $4,200, you make $25.18. And after 4,200 hours, you will be at $30.21 until you'd reach your journeyman status. The journeyman rate in the Erie area is $33.57. So our benefits are paid by our contractors. Those benefits don't come out of your paycheck. That's above and beyond whatever your pay scale is that goes into your check every week. Our benefits that our apprentices receive and journeymen are a pension plan, $150 a year. We have our profit sharing at $8.97 an hour. So also our healthcare plan. Also on top of that, there's credit union. So that credit union is kind of like a vacation fund. And one of the main reasons you'd want to be in a union building trades is you have the ability to, as a group, to negotiate your wages and benefits. As our contract is negotiated from year to year, not only is it about the pay scale or what we're going to get into our pocket, it's also about our conditions. As ironworkers, we have different gangs. So certain gangs do different things, and it's the slang term that they use for it. So some of them might be erecting the building. Some of them might be putting cables on the building to pull it so it's plumb. Depending on which gang you were in, you might be out getting stuff for the journeyman. You might be actually helping and doing the actual physical work for them also. So there's different apprentices and their different abilities. As they get on these job sites, they're gonna learn it, and as they learn it, they could actually start to do some more of the work rather than just grabbing tools and helping out. Everybody's asked are you afraid of heights? And you're not necessarily afraid of heights. I'm more afraid of dropping something and hurting somebody than I am of actually falling. Right now, our safety out there, we're tying off 100% of the time, means that you have a harness on with the two different lanyards to it. We're always attached to something usually when we're working. A journeyman ironworker, once they graduate our program, basically has the ability to go throughout the United States or Alaska. And Canada actually is part of our international union. So if you had a thought that I don't like it in Pennsylvania in the wintertime and I wanted to move to, say, Florida, you can move to Florida and go to work out of the Tampa local or the Miami local. With that being said, those are all different rates. And I've been lucky enough to be on a lot of neat things that are still standing 30 years later that I could drive by every day and still look at it. There is a lot of bridge work coming up. Working on bridges in the city of Pittsburgh actually isn't as bad as you would think. A lot of what happens now is they'll put a metal decking underneath of the bridges, so cables will span underneath of the bridges, and a lot of the elevations aren't all the way down to the water or that height. Some of the projects going on in the Erie area right now are very global, LECOM, the police barracks, Gannon University's Athletic Center. I believe they're just finishing up on the Erie County Technical Center. My best piece of advice for a high school student pursuing our trade would be, number one, show up every day for school if possible. Get to school as many days as you can. Get to a VOTEC or a CTC and get some welding skills or hands-on skills. And number one, make sure it's something that you enjoy.
So students, are you ready to turn your passion into a profession? Ironworker, it's not just a trade, it's a journey of discovery, growth, and endless possibilities. Be the architect of your destiny and check out the website, iwlocal3.com.